This November, you'll want your vote to count, but a 13 on your side investigation reveals non-citizens are voting despite efforts by the state to stop them. WZZM 13's Sarah Barwat spoke with Michigan's Secretary of State to find out why.
This is our fourth election this year.
Granville City Clerk Mary Minus is combing through November's voter registration, but she says she can't check one important thing: whether the registered voters are U.S. citizens.
Do you have any way of checking if they are a citizen?
No, we do not. No, it's their honesty and signature as to whether they are.
Area clerks, including Kent Woods, told WZZM about a registration loophole allowing non-U.S. citizens to vote.
I had somebody just the other day who was not a citizen who was a registered voter.
The loophole comes down to identification. Anyone, even someone who is not a U.S. citizen, can get an ID, and in Michigan, it's all you need to vote.
If somebody comes in with a state ID and they're registered, they can vote.
Yes.
But having a state ID doesn't necessarily mean that you're a U.S. citizen.
No, it doesn't.
And you don't have any way to check.
No, we don't.
When you head to your local precinct to vote, you either need to bring a state ID or sign an affidavit claiming that you're a U.S. citizen. But guess what? This affidavit is never even checked.
We contacted Michigan Secretary of State Ruth Johnson.
People that aren't eligible, we need to make sure that they're not on the qualified voter file.
She confirmed illegal voting is a statewide issue. After investigating just 20% of Michigan's voter registry, her office found nearly 1,000 illegal registered voters.
If you extrapolate that, that's about 4,000 non-citizens registered to vote.
She says non-citizens often have language barriers and don't understand that they aren't allowed to vote. And without realizing it, they commit a felony.
The staff is showing you where to sign. Would you like to register to vote? They do. They get the card in the mail and think that they now have the opportunity to vote. For that, it's a felony, and they can be deported.
Under her office's new policy, non-citizens are not asked to register, but others are still renewing their ID and registration through the mail. Johnson says the only way to stop it is to have the feds check the state's registry or allow her office access to the information.
This is the most frustrating part of this, is that every entity at the federal government that we have contacted has refused to help us, and they're the only people, the only entity, the federal government, that has the information.
Until then, area clerks say their hands are tied.
It could be very easy to curb an election.
It could. You know, you could have people doing that.
In Granville, Sarah Barwat, WZZM 13 News.
To try and solve the problem, we contacted Homeland Security. They gave us this statement this afternoon. It reads, states who are able to provide the proper identification and documentation for individuals registered to vote may access the SAVE program to verify their citizenship. Essentially, Homeland Security is saying that they'd like to help Michigan, but they say the Secretary of State's office hasn't provided necessary documentation. But we did just get off the phone with the Secretary of State's office, and they say, no, that's not true. They're actually waiting for a signature from Homeland Security. So it's kind of a he said, she said.
Yeah, back and forth.
So we'll definitely keep you up to date with this story.
With a close election coming up, you would think they would want to get it right.
Absolutely. It's a big problem.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Well, the food that goes into jars of Gerber